Welcome back to Nadlan Forum Podcast Daily, everyone. I'm Ruby Sturd, and I've got Lior with me as usual. Today we've got something pretty fresh from Capitol Hill, the HOME Act, introduced by Senator Jacky Rosen out of Nevada. Lior, this one's interesting, right?
Absolutely, Ruby. The full name is the Housing Oversight and Mitigating Exploitation Act, HOME Act. I mean, politicians love their acronyms. It's all about trying to fix some of the worst stuff we've been seeing in the real estate market, like price gouging, those giant corporate bulk buyers, and this ongoing headache with affordability. You know, it's exactly what investors and families keep asking about.
Yeah, and I gotta say, housing policy weirdly became one of my things because growing up in Australia, I don't know, maybe I've ranted about this before, I watched my parents try and navigate the absolute chaos of the Aussie market. Prices swinging, rentals skyrocketing, just no control. So bills like the HOME Act always catch my eye. This one says, enough is enough, let's rein it in. The goal here is pretty bold. Stop price gouging. Put some serious limits on how much of the market corporate investors can snap up and actually focus on affordability for folks on the ground.
And it comes at a time when inventory's up a little. But you look at the numbers, and affordability is still a big problem for middle-income buyers, and especially for people with low incomes. Not sure things have really improved for anyone but the top investors, honestly. So, this act tries to put families first over investors. That's what Senator Rosen keeps stressing. So let's get a bit deeper here. The HOME Act isn't just talk. It's got some teeth. First off, it bans selling or renting at unreasonable prices during so-called crisis periods. You know, like what we saw during COVID. It actually gives HUD, the Housing and Urban Development Department, the power to investigate any price manipulation or unfair hikes. That could be a game changer for renters and buyers who keep getting squeezed every time something goes sideways in the economy.
Yep, and the bit that really caught my attention, probably because we talked so much about investor impact last episode, is that corporate investors can't just do these massive, rapid-fire, single-family home acquisitions anymore. Like there's this oversight on how quickly and how much they can buy up, especially if you're a big player. Remember Phoenix? In 2021, huge institutional home buyers just flooded the market, snapped up single-family homes left and right, and it just jacked up the prices for everyone else.
Right. Phoenix became the poster child for this investor surge. All of a sudden, it was impossible for first-time buyers, even regular folks, because the competition wasn't another family. It was some giant fund with much deeper pockets. I mean, we both know investors want to make money, but if you wipe out all the competition for regular families, that's not a healthy market.
Totally. And it's not about blaming investors or saying they're the bad guy. It's just, if the system lets a handful of companies scoop up whole neighborhoods, rents and prices shoot up, and who's left out? Families. So by letting HUD watch for manipulation and capping those big acquisitions, the HOME Act is basically saying, let's at least give real people a fighting chance. All right, let's talk impact. The HOME Act isn't all enforcement. There's some stuff in here about transparency and changing how government-backed investments work. There's going to be more cross-agency data collection, which means, in theory, we get a clearer picture of what's actually happening in the market. Plus, now the Justice Department and the FTC step in for antitrust reviews. That's a big swing.
Yeah. And on the investment side, the bill will limit who can get government support. Like, only landlords with fair rental practices get the breaks. That moves the incentives away from the speculators, theoretically. The most interesting thing for me is what this means for affordable housing, especially for middle and low income families, which, as the data keeps showing, just don't have options. In Nevada, where Rosen's from, this could be huge. The state has some of the worst affordable housing shortages right now.
It's honestly overdue. More transparency and oversight means maybe, just maybe, regular people don't get muscled out by corporate money. But Lior, you've been on the ground in New York. What does this all look like in a place where you've got those giants and then small-time players like yourself?
Well, yeah. You nailed it, Ruby. I mean, when I moved to New York, I came from Israel and thought, okay, I know how things work. But here, as a small investor, it felt like competing with a jet when I've just got, a bicycle. Large investors buy a whole block in one go. You just can't keep up. And the market gets distorted. It's not about who wants to live there. It's about who's got the most capital. So if the Home Act puts in roadblocks for that, you might see more families get a shot at buying, or at least not get steamrolled by the big players.
Yeah, that gives it a little hope, doesn't it? I guess time will tell if the Home Act gets through Congress, but it's at least a start toward rebalancing things. And honestly, it's nice talking policy that might actually impact folks, not just headline chatter.
Couldn't agree more. We'll keep watching what happens with this and how it plays out in markets like Nevada, Phoenix, and of course, New York.
All right, that's us for today. If you want to dig deeper, check out the last few episodes, like the one on how institutional buyers moved the needle in Phoenix, or our chat about what's actually driving affordability these days. Lior, always a pleasure, mate.
Always, Ruby. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll catch you next time. Lots more to cover, as always.